trying to shoot shit my way. 100 down rides on the highway. Only thing I got in this lifestyle, that's my boss bitch and my wordplay. Hey, when I get mad, turn the Scarface. Now when I get mad, turn the Scarface. Yeah, I'm up in South Beach with this shit, nigga, Miami. Fuck on me. Tell me how it is, tell me how you feel, tell me what it is. I'm always in the field, always dressed to kill, nigga. What the fuck you talking about? But your pussy boy, but you ain't talking about nothing, but you ain't making noise. You ain't on that shit, that shit thought you was. Who the fuck these niggas thought they was? They don't even know that. Shooting at me and I'm a throwback. I don't look back, that's a throwback. No, I don't look sad, cause I'm on that. Boy, get shot at the tough, that's a toe tag. Lame back cracker don't want the guns on me. But these people wanna know everything. But the booze and the chica. I tell these soft ass boys how to think. When I'm on my grind, let it hate. Yeah, my nutsack on these fuck niggas when I don't give a fuck. What they be hating on, cause I'm up, nigga. What the fuck, nigga? Who the fuck these niggas thought they was? Yeah, all the time a nigga growing. All the time a nigga knowing. Gotta stack it up, keep that bitch flowing. Hey, Tell me how it is, tell me how you feel, tell me what it is. Gotta flip the deal, gotta keep the steel, killer being killed. Nah, nigga, for real, I'm ready for the real. Nigga, ready for the war, nigga. But they crack trying to shoot shit my way. 100 down rounds on the highway. Only thing I got in this lifestyle, that's my boss bitch and my wordplay. Hey, when I get mad, turn the Scarface. Now when I get mad, turn the Scarface. We up here with the scene, nigga, with the Colombians, cutting niggas' heads off and shit. Tell me how it is, tell me how you feel. Always just a kid, shoot 'em up the hill. Gotta keep it still, nah, nigga, for real. Heady boy, I think they talking about. Why X out your rank, walking on your sand. On the highway, chasing out the bands. Boy, wanna hate, they don't understand. Boy, wanna hate, soft toucans. Sam, bad nigga. I told you for that nigga don't know it. Yeah, chasing out the water, I love that shit. Cause the thrill of the hunt keep me on my shit. Yeah, the deck on my hip with a stand-up clip. Yeah, motherfucker, we'll kill your ass. We'll motherfucking dissect your ass. Cut a head off, put a body for the buzzers. Matter of fact, fuck them buzzers, nigga. Ain't no head hunters. Hey, call nigga Scarface, nigga. What the fuck you talking about? Yeah.
Hey, shalom is your Lord in Christ. Shalom. We're going to get things kicked off right now. We're going to get it going. I think I need more light in my area. My light is not, and I'm a dark fella, but my light is not picking up the best it could be. Okay. Salakia. Let me see if I move myself, if I could be a little better here. Could get some more light on this brother. I'm not one of the lighter skinned brothers, the Benjamites. Okay, you can jump into. First, we're going to clap it up. This is customary dust. We're going to clap it up to get started. We're going to get started right now. And I'm going to say Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai Rakatah to the brothers, Yahweh Shema Alatam by Hashem, Yahweh Shai to all the sisters. And I got a good lineup. I got a good feeling, and I'm ready to just rock and roll in this thing tonight. And we're gonna talk. If you got any questions, put it in the chat. If you're watching, listen, you got a question, anything but the Israelites, just put it in the chat right here. Okay, don't run away. Just put it in here, and let's talk about it. Let's have a dialogue. What's going on? What's going on the earth? What's going on almost on the planet, as we call it. So let's do it. Let's just get in here, and let me see how I'm doing here. My view. You should be okay. Need to keep my. All right. So first, what I'm gonna do, as I normally do, I'm gonna encourage you to, grow something. Get your hand out there in the soil. And remember, growing is not an art, it's a science. Meaning, follow the procedures the way you're supposed to, and you'll get the desired results. As simple as that. Don't talk about having a green thumb. Talk about you not following the right procedure. Talk about you planting the seed and never going back and check on it. And you say, I don't have a green thumb. No, it's not a green thumb. You're just not disciplined to water the plant every other day. That's the issue. Not that your thumb is not green. Okay, your mind is not green, not your thumb. Right now, we're gonna go through some current events, and the reason why I go through these current events is to remind Israel the same things happening elsewhere where Israel are is the same things happening elsewhere where Israel are. Okay, so what's happening here happens elsewhere. The same kind of things we have going on here in the Bahamas happen elsewhere where Israel is located. And so I go through these current events to actually bring that out to let you see that there's no difference in Israel, and we yet in our slavery wherever we are. And so I go through these current events just to let you know what's going on the ground here, what's happening here. As other shows will let you know what's happening elsewhere, I let you know what's happening in the Bahamas. So we're gonna talk about some of the current events locally here in the Bahamas. Then we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the international event that affects us here in the Bahamas. And then we're gonna get into our topic for the night. Stay tuned for this topic. This topic, in my mind, this is a good topic. So I want you to stay tuned and get ready for this topic. All right? All right. So, first, our first local current event. So we have the police. We have I think we have 22 inhabited 22 inhabited islands. We have keys that are also inhabited. So all of the islands and rocks and keys, it's 700 island rocks and keys. Anything with push of the water, we call that part of the Bahama chain. But it's only like 21 inhabited islands, but of course they're keys also. And so we have one of I think Abaco is probably around in line with being the third or fourth largest of the islands, inhabited ones. Okay, so and Abaco is one of the islands that's nearest to where I am in Grand Bahama. Okay, so we have Abaco police investigating the cutlass attack after a man suffered serious injuries. Now, again, like I tell you, we suffer these same things. We suffer the same things, and the Levites are bully. Now, I don't know if that's a Levite, but more than likely, if you see a cutlass or machete, well, people, they commonly call themselves Haitian, because as we commonly call ourselves Bahamians, but we all Israelites, right? So when you see a machete, the the truth is, what do you call it? The organic Bahamian does not like things like machete. They don't seem to have an affinity for blood. They don't want to chop you and see all that blood bleed. No, they'd rather just shoot you if they could, right? So if you see, it's a lot here for that. Okay, but if you see if you hear in the news that somebody was chopped with a machete, chances are it was not what you call, it was not probably a Benjamite, I should say. It was probably not a Benjamite. It probably was a Levite or Levite descent, because we have a lot of Levites who descend and they're here. And that just happened a few days ago. 21st. Now another thing is, May the 21st, there's also an investigation into discovery of a male body washed up on the shore, the beach of the same island on Abaco. You don't know what. See, the thing is, we don't know what's going on. Again, we have these Levites fleeing from Haiti, trying to find a better life. You have so much things that's going on, so much stuff is happening at the same time. Until you do an investigation, you can't say, what it is. Even though the drug running is subsided a lot in the Bahamas, it's not stopped. So you could have those things happening on the high seas. Times in the 80s, you used to have a lot of things going on in the high seas. So now we're probably still there. Why? Because people trying to get ahead. They see the pressures of the world, and they can't make it. This slavery that we're in, people try to find a way out of it, and so you never know exactly what all is happening. All right, now, and again, all of these stories I'm going to go over, these are just indicators that we are yet in our slavery. And even though you in certain things happening in these situations and areas, what you have going on is people are trying to find ways to make stuff happen, trying to find ways to better themselves, trying to find ways to take care of their children, and a lot of time it's not always lawful. Okay, they do a lot of illegal things to try to get ahead. We have also the story is we have a police corporal has been suspended, right, from active duty. Now, you never think that this would happen, but somehow it happened. Somehow you arrest somebody and money going missing, and they say that you steal the money from the person who got arrested. All right, it's alleged that the person did that. Of course, we never call names, but I'm just the whole idea is these things happening here, and guess what? You Israelite, it happening there. I'm certain. I'm certain you have similar things that's going on where you are as an Israelite. Okay, we got another. This story. I don't know if you are in the Bahamas, you will know this story, where we have this with America always make it sound big. This drug kingpin. They talk about him. The drug kingpin was found. The story about the plane crash. And when the plane was crashing, they say this man was hugging on this body purse or body vest or whatever it is, and he had money in it. And of course, when they identify him, they found that they had a warrant out for his arrest, and now so much stuff is coming out of that. It's just erupting into more like a volcano. It's just erupting into more information is coming out of that, and it doesn't look good for the country because this dragon is talking about politicians and talking about the corruption in the. Now, guess what? I mean, corruption everywhere, but this is what I'm telling you, bro. And sis, Akim, and Aquathium. It happens in Israel. We yet under the curses. Okay, so that's what's happening there. And of course, the thing was the strange thing is when they went to take him, America is this. I'm sorry, New York is like the place where everything happens, right? So when you get international court cases, they go into New York. So when they went to try and to take him to New York to answer the cases, they couldn't find him. Now I don't know. I don't know with that. I've seen on TV they have these they call the black site where they carry people and torture them to find out information. Maybe they had him there. I don't know. But he was in custody. So somebody got him. But when they went to move him, they said they couldn't find him. Now, you can't lose a whole man in the American system like that. They're trying to get some information, right? Now this is another story. It shows you if it show you that men are definitely in the slavery, that we still in there, women are the same way. A serving female member of the Royal Bahamas Police Defense Force is on one of the two persons arrested after they seize firearm and ammunition during the early morning operation on Friday. Now, the Defense Force, and I don't know why the Defense Force officer need a gun. The thing is, the Defense Force officer should always have a gun, right? So I don't know why they in that position that they have to. If you get cited for having a gun, that means you have a gun that you're not supposed to have, right? So again, I'm not sure everything surrounding it, but it's a good indication, that people doing stuff that they ought not to be doing. All right. So again, the pressures, the situations, the whole setup that's around us, it squashes you in. It puts you in that box, in that area where you need to find relief. But how do you do it? You get on a job and you're getting paid a certain amount of money. Everything goes up around you. People start thinking a lot of craziness, to get ahead. So I'm only saying I don't know the story around why officers need a gun. Because as far as I'm concerned, Defense Force officers should never need a gun because they should have the right to have whatever gun they need to have. That's basically that's our the nearest thing you have to an army, the nearest thing you have to somebody who's going to be able to protect you. So if you have those persons, they should be armed at all times. So anyway, I don't know why they're in that position. some politician probably need to look at that. Now, what else we got here? Slovakia. Police on Grand Bahamas investigating the stabbing incident. So we have a 69-year-old person. Okay. And by the way, this is so we have a 69-year-old person getting involved in a stabbing incident. You're not sure why, but as we get older, you're supposed to become wiser. You keep yourself out of those kind of situations best as you can. And if you're trying to protect yourself, that's fine. But again, like I'm saying is, all you're going to find, all of these stories, you will find it happening around you if you're Israel. You're going to find it happening. And so that's my part, is to bring it to your attention and let you know what's happening here. So you can say, oh, the same thing happening over there is what happening here. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Okay, so also another one. This is now our 6th current event, talking about on the small island of Bimini. That's one island. Also from the Abaco would be in the east, and the Bimini would be more to the south of me. So not too far. Again, the Bimini would be, I think Bimini is recorded as probably the closest of the islands to America. Okay, which would be for Florida, closest to Florida. Now, police are again on the small island is investigating the shooting, which an 80-year-old boy was seriously injured. Now, they say a 12-year-old boy has now been arrested. Children, that island is one that was heavily influenced by drug trafficking. Everybody, at some point, it seemed like everybody was involved in obviously it was not, but it seemed like at one point in the 80s that everybody was just involved in stuff. Let me put it like that. Okay, in stuff. It just seemed like everybody was involved in stuff in the 80s from that small island. It's a very small island, but it was known for a lot of activity. And so it's going to be an abundance of firearms, and they're going to tell you one thing: we don't make firearms in the Bahamas. We don't make them. Somebody bring them in. And we have, and the sad thing is, we've been educated to the point to realize that we have our neighbors to the north. We've seen what they did in some of their areas where they would actually put firearms in neighborhoods, which causes firearms to be out in the neighborhood, and people start to have rivalry with one another, fighting one another. Now they have ammunition, and they have, now with us, the truth is, we have a lot of people that come from the north on vacation, and they come in their private boats, they come in their private planes, and a lot of times they bring ammunition and sell it. That's only alleged. I don't know. I'm not in law enforcement, but I've heard rumors about that. All right. So we don't make any firearm in this country. None at all. They may have some 3D printers now, but I don't know if we get to that as yet. Okay, so now that's the 12-year-old is looking at that. It's like I say, it might just be the case of somebody finding a firearm and accidentally discharging it and hitting someone else, or it might be as simple as that. Someone might dig it up because in times past they used to put it in some kind of waterproof container and bury it, because you don't want the officials finding your illegal fire stick, as we used to call it at one point. The fire stick is in the dark when it discharges, you see like a fire come with the nozzle. All right, so but that could be very well what's happening. And that's some of the local things that's happening in the Bahamas. Now, some of the international things that affects us in the Bahamas is remember the whole Venezuelan thing, right? That's still ongoing. Now we have the Agent Orange have his crosshairs. Like I say, when the sniper got that looking through that scope and got that crosshairs on you. Apparently, they got the crosshairs on Cuba now. That's Agent Orange. He got the crosshairs on Cuba, and I'm going to tell y'all. See, think about this. Agent Orange is trying to somehow take possession of all of the countries in the Americas. Think about it. He was trying to get Canada. Okay, it's the Americas. Now he's trying to get Cuba. It's in the Americas. I made this reference in the past. If Agent Orange, and I'm talking about the leader of the free world, if he stands his foot on Cuba and on Florida, what you think is beneath him, his testicles, literally? You know what it'll be? The Bahamas. Nobody's saying anything about that, but if he's trying to somehow take possession of this whole hemisphere, at some point, you know what he said about Cuba? We just take it. That's what he say. That's like a child come in your house and see a toy on the floor, you know, and the child just pick it up and say, "Oh, just take this toy," because that's what he said about Cuba. We just take it. They can't defend themselves. You think we can defend ourselves against the great superpower? No. So at some point, if we get a look out, they might just decide to take it. All right. Anyway, that's just food for thought. I don't know. I ain't got no evidence on that. I'm just saying that the Middle East, um, again, Agent Orange, right? Middle East still going. U.S. President Trump and Iran negotiations are nearing an arrangement to end the war, but it's always like they're negotiating, they're talking, the war ending, and you know, this is getting crazy. Tragedy in China. A massive coal mine. You know, the coal mines, those mines run so deep. Those coal mines run so deep, they extract so much from the earth, and as they extract these things from the earth, you have the possibility of collapsing. You have the possibility of gas buildup. You have the possibility of explosion. You have all of these hazards in those areas. You know, they used to use canaries. They used to use birds back in the time before they had some devices to check the atmosphere. They used to have birds working in the coal mines and in the mines. And whenever the birds die, everybody ran out because, of course, what happened was there was some atmosphere disruption or a lack of oxygen, maybe some poisonous gas, but that's what they did in the past. So now they had an explosion in one of the coal mines in China. That's a tragedy. Now and of course that's the second one. We still have again international stuff for these things affects you might not understand it, but these things actually affect you. You may not understand how this thing work out. Nothing happens around the world that don't affect your pocket. Because the people around the world, they trading on our labor. You would be surprised to know where your little dollar, how far your dollar is stretched in these rich people's pocket. All of them is get 1 cent from you, and you think it's nothing, right? You think it's nothing, but guess what? I want 1 cent from everybody on the earth. I want 1 cent from everybody on the earth. You think about it. You know how much people on the earth? And see, that's how people think. You never think like that because you never had it in your mind. But they think like that. They say, man, if I could just get 1 cent from 1/4 of the people in the world every day, I'll be straight. You don't think like that. But that's how they thinking. They think about getting your money. Your very dollar, what you think is so far removed from them, they're getting that. How do they get it? You see, because the banks, who own the banks? These people own the banks. These people own the bank, but own the bank. The bank who is you set up a business, you get taxes, all these things, they funnel into them. To the 1% of the people on the earth would get all the money, all the power, and all they keep getting it. Okay? Anyway, I just kind of run off on that one. But watch out. Escalation in Ukraine. Now, the Russian hypersonic missile strike. Oh, Kiev even 4 dead. Now, do you know this hypersonic missile would Russia have? That could reach that could reach over here. And it could reach so fast that you can't even shoot it down. You know? I'm just saying that. Food for thought. It's international stuff. It affects us. Okay? It affects us. We got some other stuff that's going on. Ongoing violence. We have violence everywhere. And the scriptures talk about these things, The scriptures talk about in the end time how men will be It'll be in the days as it was in the days of Noah. You know, all of these things happening. So you have to pay attention to this. Life is so practical that if you pay attention to the things that's going on, you will understand that the end is coming near. Right? So we have all of these things going on. We got a health, it's almost done. We got the last current event. We got a health concern. You know, we talk about the about and now what we're talking about is like the Ebola, right? We talk about these infectious diseases that people get from different animals and they bring it into the human race, and yeah, we actually see from time to time that people would experiment and bring these things into being and watch and see what happen. Do you know? Have you ever heard that? I think it was in the 60s or 70s that they actually infected people with syphilis. They actually gave them the disease and did not give them treatment. And when they went for treatment, they pretended to give them treatment that actually, this is I'm talking about in America, where they pretended to give them treatment and didn't do it, but they monitored them to see how they would play with and all the way until their death. So and who did it? The Edomites did it to the Israelites, basically. All right, to the black people, and which could have been some Hamites and whatever else. But that's how this world runs. All right. So basically, that is our current events. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free, put it in the chat. If I'm not able to answer your question, I have brothers who are capable and well able. I'll ask them for the answer, and then I'll get back to you with that answer. Now today, we're going to be reading. We're going to go to the book of, and I would tell you to get your Bible anytime you're going to go into this class. It's crucial that you read the scriptures. All right. Now, our last time we did the live, we dealt with man. Now, I want to continue on from where we stopped because what we were doing in the last scripture, we was showing you that man was made in the abundance. Now, if you didn't know that, you may have to go back and see the live that I did last week, and you could agree or disagree with what I said. But we want to continue on from that same point in the history of man. So we want to go forward from that. And so where we ended up off was when Cain had killed his brother and he left. Of course, we want to start off with Seth, right? Because we didn't have, I think the last part of what we covered was in Genesis. This is the book of Genesis chapter 4 and verse 24. And this is like we left off somewhere around this. And you get your Bible and turn to that too. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly. No, it's a lack here. It's a different one. Let me see if I can find where we ended. But we ended off with the story of Cain. So this is still talking about Cain, but I want to jump from Cain. I want to go to Seth. Okay? Because today we want to talk about the generation of the sons of God. So I want to skip because again, in the let me see. Okay, we read, I'm going to remind you, we read this last week, and I just want to show you that we were in the 4th chapter, and we ended up after this, because we finished down to this area, in the book of Genesis chapter 4 and verse 17, and Cain knew his wife, and she conceived, and bare Enoch. So we got that far from the creation, we got into talking about Cain. I want to jump from talking about Cain, because you know that Cain killed Abel, and now we want to talk about what the Lord gave Adam and Eve another son. Okay? And so I want to start from there. I want to start from Genesis chapter 4 and the 25th verse. Questions, put it in the chat. Okay, this is the book of Genesis chapter 4 and verse 25. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For God said, for God said she, has pointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. So we know the story that, Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, and Cain was not pleased with his the Cain gave an offering, the Lord was not pleased with it. So he was upset with Abel, and for what reason he slew Abel? Jealousy. But anyway, Abel was slew, and now the Lord gave Adam and Eve another son instead of Abel. All right. Now let's move on. I'm going to read. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 5. I'm going to be starting from the first verse, and this is the book of Genesis. This is the book of the generation of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them and called their name Adam, in the day where they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived 105 years and begot Enos. And Seth lived after he begot Enos 807 years and begot sons and daughters. Now, I want to go back and forth on this as we read through it. Okay, we see that this is the generation, and I want to bring something to your attention as we read through it. Okay, now we know that Adam and Eve had Cain and Abel. Now Cain's still alive. Remember now, at this point, Abel is dead, but Cain is alive. Why is Cain not mentioned in this generation? Okay, you can check through this. Cain is not in this generation. Cain is done in the generation. Adam, and then it goes to Seth. And it talks about Seth having, of course, it talks about Adam having sons and daughters. It talks about Seth having sons and daughters. So these are where men start to multiply, right? Adam had more sons and daughters. Seth had more sons and daughters. Check this. Check what's happening here. You have Adam having children, Seth having children. Nobody's mentioning Cain. All right, at this point. But of course, Cain will be mentioned, because at the same time, Seth having sons and daughters, Cain doing the same thing. But he's not added in the generations as it is here. Okay. So in the Genesis 5 and 8, and all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years, and he begot Cana. And Enos lived after he begot Cana 815 years, and begot sons and daughters. Before I go further, let's just touch a little bit about the years. A lot of times people say, well, those years were short and down. No. I mean, when they did the calendar, if the calendar changed, the calendar would have changed only by 2 months. So these years were a long period of time. And we expect that in the new Jerusalem, when Christ comes back, we expect to live these kind of years. We don't expect to live forever, as some people are trying to make us believe, but we do believe that we can be living very long time and see our great grands and great grands, and then at some point we just go to sleep. That's how we understand that. Similar to what you see in here in the beginning. Okay, as the Bible opens up, it's going to be the same way there in the end. Okay, so And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. Canaan lived 7. Now, I'm gonna flip down a little bit. Then we go to Canaan and how long he lived, and then we say Canaan lived, and let's go to 13. Canaan lived after he begot Methuselah. Okay, Methuselah. They say he's the one that lived the longest in the Bible. Right? We make jokes about him. This is where it comes from right here. So Canaan lived 910 years and he died. Methuselah lived 60 and 5 years and he begot Jared. Methuselah lived after he begot Jared 830 years and begot sons and daughters. Remember now, all of these are the sons of Seth, and they begetting sons and daughters, right? They begetting sons and daughters. Now, I did say Adam had sons and daughters too, right? These are, let me back up on that to just show you. So, remember this, these are all giving you the sons of the generation of Adam. So what Adam is telling you, you go from Adam to Seth. And from Seth, you go now to all of the descendants come from Seth. We down to Methuselah now. Okay, Methuselah lived 800, and all the days of Methuselah was 895 years, and he died. Jared lived 162 years and begot Enoch. And Jared lived after he begot Enoch 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. Now, where am I going with all of this reading? You need to hold on and follow me. It's important to understand the scriptures. I know I know normally we just read one scripture and we philosophize for the next whole hour, and you really ain't getting nothing from it. But follow me with this. Follow me. I know sometimes it may be hard because we're not conditioned to do that. Okay? I try to make it as painless as possible. Salakia. Okay? Okay, so we did Jared now, okay? And we did Enoch. And then all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. Enoch lived 60 and 5 years, and then he got Methuselah, Salakia. That was Mahili, not Methuselah, who was before Jared. Salakia for that. So we now down to the famous Methuselah, right? Okay. And I was looking at the years and it didn't add up to the 900 years. So lucky for that. Brain waking a little slow sometimes. Okay, so Methuselah lived 187 years and begot Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begot Lamech 782 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years. So, and he died. So this is the longest recorded life in the Bible so far. And Lamech lived 182 years and begot sons. And he called his name Noah, saying, "The same shall conform us concerning our works and toils of our hand, because out of the ground which the Lord has cursed." And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech was 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay, now we getting into remember now, plenty people. You hear all those people that were born of all of these people? All these people were born of Seth or Adam. Okay, stay with me now. I know it may be a little tedious, but hold on with me. I got this car rolling. I got this. Would be used in Bible school. I got this plane on the runway, and I got it taxiing. I getting ready to take off into the air. So hold on and just stick with me. Stick with me on this. Now, we can jump across to Genesis chapter 6. Now, this scripture, this is the one that creates some issues. I can read it and I can come back to it now. And it came to pass when men begin to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. The sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took of them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with men, with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Right? There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of the men was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thought of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping things and fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them. So that here. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. And I can break this down, so hold on, stick with me. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in all his generation, and Noah walked with God. Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all the flesh had corrupted itself his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Okay, so now you know the story about Noah. But this part of the story, nobody told you. So this is what we're going to break down now. Let's go back up to the top. I hope you got your Bible. I hope you're in. I hope you lock in with me. Lock in. Okay, now let's get it. We go into Genesis chapter 6, and we starting at the first verse. Now, okay, and it came to pass, when man began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Now, tell me something. We just read all of these, the generations of Adam, how all of these people were producing children. And it came to pass when men begin to multiply on the face of the earth. Okay? Now, we just talked about men multiplying in the previous verse. Obviously, we didn't talk about Cain. We didn't talk about Cain yet, right? But we know that men were multiplying because we got Seth, we got Adam. We're showing that, and we're showing all these generations of Seth, and I always say they had children. That's the children where they being multiplied. All right, and that the sons of God saw it. Now, check this out. Who are the sons of God in this passage? If you think about it like this. Now, go back. Now, I mean, we're gonna read where Cain was multiplying also. But if you go back and think about it, you have, and it says that Eve said the Lord gave her another man. So it seems like with her getting another man, yes, Adam's children Adam's children would be the sons of God. Think about it. Okay, because remember, God gave Adam and Eve another son to replace Abel, who again was the righteous one. So God replaced the righteous one, his son. That's how you look at it, his son. So his son now was everybody, all the generations were having children, and all of those were the sons of God. Those are the sons of God. Now, why did they use the daughters of men? All right. Now, let me tell you, who was, and of course we already said that there were other people on the earth at that time, not just Cain and his offspring. Other people were there. So everybody that was there they had daughters. Men had daughters, and what happened is, believe it or not, we were never supposed to marry outside of our race. This is the reason. Check this. I want you to check this out. This is the reason for what happened here. The reason why you see this Genesis 6 story go this way is because we, the Israelites, at that time it was in Israelites, right? At that time, it was who God chose, and He was telling you, even from then, He wanted you to be separate. God always wanted a separate set of people to do His bidding and His will. But it seems like we are always drawn to other nations to do what they're doing. So we still on the Genesis 6. We're gonna go through it slowly. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna talk about it. If you got any questions, put it in the chat, put it in the comments, and I'll answer it. Okay, so we see that. I am telling you that the sons of God was all the men that what came from Seth, what came from Adam. Okay, all the men, they were referred to as the sons of God. And so who are the daughters of men? The daughters of men were the women, right? You see, if you were to say, because some people will say, oh, so where are the men? These men wasn't looking for men. The sons of God they wasn't homosexual, but yet what they were doing, they were still looking for women outside their race. They had enough women in their race, as the Lord say, to stay within your race. And where did He say that? It's hard for you to pick that up, but I'm going to tell you where He said. He said when he closed up the flesh thereof, all the way back in the first, I think it's the first part of Genesis, where after He made man and Eve was brought him and He closed the flesh thereof. That was whether slang, colloquial, or how we put it, so that we stay within our family. That's a breakdown you need to ask me if you need for me to break it down to you. That can take a little longer, right? But anyway, so we see now these sons of God was finding the daughters of men. That means the daughters of men were there, right? The sons of God went looking for women, these other women who they were told to stay to themselves, but they started looking for these other daughters of the other men who were there. That's the simple understanding. It's very practical to understand. And so this is what happened, right? So the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took of them wives, which they choose. What does that mean? They start having sex with them. We think that sex is marriage. So we think if you have sex, you're married. That's what the Bible says. That's what we teach. That's what we understand. You have sex with a woman, that's it. You're supposed to stay with them until death. You have to go to no system and no legality to be married. Once you start up, you having sex with somebody, that becomes your wife. Sorry. Point blank period. Okay? So what happened is the men took wives. They find some fine girls, right? They took them. And the Lord said, my spirit should not always, now check this out now, should not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Think about this. You make this spooky by adding angels in it. No angels are mentioned in this thing. None at all. Remember, we were talking about all those years that people were living? That's why the Lord say, He talking about the same sons of God. He said, you see all them years I was living? With y'all living long. So I can cut that down to 120 years. The same people, the same men, the same sons of Adam, the same sons of Seth. He now cutting their time down to 120 years. Nobody else he's talking to, right? Don't make this over. Don't make this spooky or nothing like that. This is very practical to understand. What the men were doing, they were not supposed to be mixing and intermingling with the children. They were not supposed to be married and given in marriage. And you'll see that further down in the Bible. You're not supposed to be taking other wives from other tribes. You're supposed to stick with the wives in your tribe. And they haven't enough. If you read Salakia, it was enough people, children born in prior to in this 5th chapter, that they had an abundance of women to select from. They didn't have to go where they're not supposed to go. And that's what they did. All right. So we see, and this is the thing that God say, he gonna drop down the years 120 years. That's what happened. Now, let's deal with this verse. This is the verse that kicks people in the head. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Now, who is this talking about? There was giants in the earth. Now, some people will say, well, that was in the dinosaurs genre, and those are the giants. Okay, let's put that aside. Let's stick with the topic we're talking about. We're talking about man. We're talking about people. Salakia. Okay, short intermission there. Okay, we're back. Okay, so we see now, after the Lord cut down our life, the lifespan now from all them 900, 800, and all them long time, he cut down. Who are these giants? Now, bear in mind, a giant, it could be, this giant could be in two ways. This giant could be a giant of a man, not a, take it out your mind, because what happens is when you get in your mind that the giant was having sex with a woman, come on, think about this for a second. Think about a giant. In your mind, you put this giant to 20 or 30 feet tall. Are you putting that in your mind, that a woman having sex with a giant 30 feet tall? Think about that. But this is what happens in our mind. We see this giant was in the earth at these days, and so we think that the giant was having sex with him, and that's not what the scripture is saying at all. Okay? The giant, Napoleon Bonaparte, he was a giant of a man, and the nigga wasn't 5 feet. Okay? And you look at it, the short fellas around you, there's be the giant of the men, because before you see them, you hear him out. And so this is what it's talking about. Not necessarily the height of the giant of a man to be so big and tall and having sex with just a woman. That's not what it's saying. We misunderstand that. We miss that boat by people telling us that, and that's not the way it is. Why? Because the scripture right now, it can break it down. It can explain to you why it's not a giant, right? Because again, all right, see, we can go back here. Genesis chapter 6 and verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, right? Now, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore them children, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. How do they mean mighty men of renown? Known, things like that, skillful, known, and because mighty men of renown, mighty men of renown in your community, who's the popular person, who's the memorable person, who's the mayor, who people look up at. Those are the mighty men of renown in your area. That's how you would look at this in our day and time. Times past would be a little different, but the easiest way to explain it to you, which you'll understand, is that, right? And so God saw that the wickedness of man was great on the earth. What is happening? What is the problem? You know what the problem is? This is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem with God says to wickedness. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of their daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and they took that they were fair, and they took them wives, all which they choose. That is the problem inside Genesis 6. This is the thing which caused the Lord to say, that's it, This is the thing that caused the Lord to say in the 6th verse, it repented the Lord that he had made man in the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man. You get it? That's all it was. I mean, that's not all it was. That's a sin that the Lord was not planning to tolerate. That's what's happening there. The Lord is not planning to tolerate that sin, and the sin is mixing with other tribes. The Lord is not. He didn't tolerate that then, and He's not tolerating it now. So He's telling you, do not be mixing with other tribes. Why did we say that it wasn't any angelic being, right? Just check this out, because people will tell you, "Oh, that was an angel," but if you read this, check this out. Check this out. And it repented the Lord that He had made who? This is Genesis chapter 6, verse 6, and it reads thus: "And it repented the Lord that He had made man on the earth." It didn't say it repented the Lord that He had made a giant. It didn't say, correct. It didn't say it repented the Lord that He had made an angel. Who did He repent that He had made? Man. So the man was the one. The man was the one who saw the women from the other tribes who they were not supposed to be taken for wives, and that's what they did. They took them wives, as many as they choose, and this is the thing that caused the Lord to destroy the earth. It caused the Lord to just be totally ticked off with everybody. Now, you see, think about this. We understand. Do you understand that at this point, men were made in the abundance? So that means the earth had plenty of people at that point. It had the people who were initially created at the creation time. It had the children. Of course, all the people were multiplying. And we saw that in the earlier verses, that they had cities. We saw that. And Cain had his wife. We saw that. So these people were multiplying and living elsewhere. And so the sons of God went out and started finding these women from the sons of Man. And so what happens is, because it grieved the Lord, He decided to destroy. And it said, okay, this is what it said. And the Lord said, "I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping thing and fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them." Remember now, He ain't talking about no angels. He ain't talking about no giants. So get it out your head. It's no giants, it's no angels, it's man. It's you. If you don't follow what the Lord say, He's going to be the one that destroys you. Get that in your spirit. The devil, Satan may be even involved in your destruction. But if Satan is involved in your destruction, that's on the directive of the Lord. The Lord don't, the Most High, let me put it like this, the Most High don't have no rival. No rival. You think about it. People say that the Most High had war. The Most High had no war with nobody in heaven. No. If you talk about war, if you think the Most High is all powerful, how do you turn around and give Him an equal? Anyway, that's a discussion. If you put a question in the chat, we may deal with that. Okay, so now what we have here is men begin to multiply on the face of the earth. And what they start doing is looking. All these women over here, it wasn't that they were short of women. Get this in your mind. They wasn't short of women. Because you see all those years that the men were living, they was producing children, women and men. But now they looking on the other side. They looking where they was not supposed to look. Who told them that? If the Lord get angry with you for something, He gave you instructions. Why was He angry with Cain? Because Adam would have instructed how the sacrifices should be. That you should sacrifice your best. If you don't sacrifice your best, the Lord is not going to accept it. And so in Cain's case, he didn't sacrifice his best, so the Lord rejected it. Abel sacrificed his best. And then you go back and read that, so you'll see that Abel sacrificed his best, the firstling, and you'll see that Cain sounded like he just give the Lord some stuff that he grew in if you go back to that story. Now, what's happening is the Lord decides that He's going to reset the whole thing, We have a lot of people on the earth at this time. He said, you know what? He said this, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. And then it tells you that these are the generations of Noah. And so Noah, after the Lord decided to destroy man, he decided to start it over with Noah. So everyone that was on the earth, the flood came and destroyed them, and it was a reset. And so when you see the Bible make reference that everybody come from Adam, think about this. When the Bible refers to everybody come from Adam, this is why. This is why it says that. Because I think about it. When Noah comes from Adam. We just read that. Noah comes from Adam. So everybody else was killed. So that means everybody came through Noah and his 3 sons. So all of them come from Adam. And so don't be confused. Don't let people mislead you. The earth was repopulated with Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And you know what I probably will do for our next class? I'll continue going in the same route and continue to talk, because now we need to find out where Israel come from, where the Israelite come from, and where these other people on this earth come from. Where these other people that all of these, you believe that all these nationalities are the same, but the people on the earth don't even believe that. They don't believe that they're the same as you, and you believe that you're the same as them. In so much that you would give all you have for them, and you would think you don't deserve anything, especially when it comes to the Edomites. You know, we've been conditioned over so many years to I don't know, after to respect and love the Edomites, that we don't see anything else. But guess what? That's all I want to do for this evening. I want to clip it right there. If there's any questions, please ask your question. Feel free to ask your questions. If you put it in the chat, you could also reach out to me, ISUPK at Gmail, or more than likely, if you know me, call me. Let's have a conversation. I'm trying to bring this truth to the Bahamas and open it up. Yep, the Israelite doctrine, the Israelite, our lifestyle, I should say. Our lifestyle is not easy or simple, because you're going to have to follow the Bible verbatim. That's the thing what nobody wants. That they're shunning, they're shying away from that. That's what our people are shying away from, doing the right thing and learning the right thing, because some of the things that you were doing is the wrong thing. So come into here, ISUPK, come in here and learn the right thing. We'll teach you the right thing. Come in here and learn the right thing. And once you do that, once you are exposed, then you're responsible. As long as you stay away and you're not exposed, I guess you're not responsible. But come in here and learn. And again, so I'm going to clip it right there. I'm going to sing. So I'll just, we at ISUPK started out at 1 West 125th Street under Commanding General Yohanan. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group, any Christian organization, any social club. We cry shame on everybody, because as far as we're concerned, everybody's leading our people into the abyss. Nobody's teaching us the right way. So we are trying to teach our people the right way, and everybody on the earth is not our people. Shalom. So with that, Salakia, hold on for me. All right, with that being said, like I said, we had ISUPK started at 1 West 125th Street under Commanding General Yohanan. So get in the truth, get an ISUPK, and start to learn. It's a lot that we need to learn. It's a lot that we need to understand. So with that being said, I'm going to say Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah to all the brothers, and to the sister, I say Yahweh Shema Alatam Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Inshallah. Shalom.
And with that, we say shalom.